Hi, welcome back to Suzanne Elizabeth's Kitchen. It's about 10 o'clock at night here, and I have switched from my usual glass of red wine to a very nice and bedtime friendly cup of peppermint tea, which is what I'm drinking here. And this is about the time of night when I throw together a quick dough so that it can rise overnight. I usually bake using the no-knead baking method, which is a long, slow rise. And so the best time to put together the first rise is before you go to sleep at night. And it's very simple, very quick, and easy to put together. So I'm going to show you what goes into that simple process, how easy it is, but then also what you can do to kind of experiment. And I'm going to take you along on a little bread baking experiment that I'm going to be doing tonight. So, start off, we've got 3 cups of bread flour, just plain old bread flour. And then you put another ½ cup of something in. And I like to play around with different flours. So tonight I'm using a organic whole spelt flour. And this has a richer, nuttier taste to it. And you can even see, let's see if I can show you how different the color is. If you compare, sorry, my iPad probably doesn't catch the subtleties in the color. The bread flour is white. This is a beige, a light tan. So we've mixed that in there. I've got my trusty whisk so that I can combine the 2 flours. And now for the fun part. I have this bag of just all sorts of whole grains that I usually use to make my porridge. And I make this wonderful porridge mixture, which I'll make for you sometime. But tonight I thought, just for something different, I'd like to try to make a whole grain bread, and meaning a bread that has all kinds of interesting grains in it. The inspiration for this bread came from a recent trip I made to Crested Butte, and I went to a wonderful bakery there. It's in a red building at the end of Main Street, and I wish I could remember the name of it. I can't, unfortunately, but it's a wonderful organic bakery. And they do something called a birdseed bread. And it was very good, and so inspired by that, I'm going to make tonight's whole grain bread. So I'm going to just put a tablespoon of all of these different whole grains into my dough and see what happens. And this is the joy of cooking. This is how you learn how to do new things, and maybe it'll work and maybe it won't, but it's not the end of the world either way. So a tablespoon of, look at these gorgeous black sesame seeds. And it was $2.50. Here's a tip that I just love. At our natural grocers, our local natural grocers, they have a bulk aisle where you can buy grains and seasonings in bulk, these bulk bags, and they're so much less expensive than if you were to buy in a regular by the jar. So that's a happy little tip for you. All right, so whole rye, tablespoon of that. Let's see what this is. Organic rolled rye flakes. Now again, I have no idea what all this is going to taste like, but we'll find out. Hopefully it'll be fabulous. Fabulous. What do we got here? Cracked wheat. Sounds good. Throw that in. I think I'm going to have a mess here. Organic millet. If worst comes to worst, the birds will love it, right? Organic millet. I truly am making a mess. I I should probably switch over to wine instead of tea. Okay, amaranth. Tablespoon of that. And a tablespoon of rolled barley flakes. This sounds really good. Okay, so that's it. And now we're just going to mix all of these together. And let's see how this looks. It looks very lively. I wish I could show you. You can definitely see all the little grains in there. Can I give you? Okay, there you go. You see all the little flecks of grains? Isn't that nice? I think that's going to make a wonderful bread. Now for the good stuff. I am going to get the old moonshine jar that actually contains not moonshine, but my sourdough starter. We're going to take a big heaping cup worth. Look at that nonsense just dripping out of there. That's my sourdough starter. That's going to go in here. And let's put this down. Water. Now, for water. So as you can see, we still have a lot of sourdough starter in there. So let's just pour the water from here into there. And that way we can get all the goodness of that sourdough in there. All right, now we need this. We need a little spatula so that we can really clean up the sourdough starter from there, from our cup measure. Now, so give this a little stir, and you may notice I have not added any salt yet. And the reason for that is because in the reading that I've been doing about bread baking, they said that for the first 20 minutes after you combine the water and the flour and the yeast together, that you should give it 20 minutes to let everything rest and combine and to begin to form those gluten bonds that are going to help the bread to rise. And then after that 20 minutes, then you can add in your salt. And so that's what I'm doing now. And as you probably have noticed, I'm adding more water. And so I had 1.5 cups total in here. Most recipes call for between 1 cup and 1.5 cups. And it really depends on where you live and just the current weather conditions. Here in Colorado, it's very, very dry. The air is very dry. And what you want is a wet dough for this particular long rise method. So that's what we're doing here. Let's see if you can see my beautiful, there we go, isn't that lovely? So this is going to rest for 20 minutes. Then I'll add the salt, give it another little turn, and then I will just cover it with the trusty plastic wrap and let it rest in a warm part of the kitchen overnight. And then tomorrow morning I'll come back, and after 12 to 18 hours it will have more than doubled in size. And then we basically, it looks like I'm playing patty cake, and that's almost what it is. We manipulate the dough a little bit. Not really, you're not kneading it all, you're just giving it a little toss and tussle. And then you're going to let it rise for a second time for 2 hours, and then we're going to bake it in a Dutch oven. And we'll come back and show you that tomorrow. So have a good evening. Enjoy a cup of wine or a cup of tea with me, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you again for joining me in Suzanne Elizabeth's kitchen. Good night.